All right, next topic. Developers saying Xbox Series S doesn't have enough horsepower. Did you hear about this?
It is of no surprise because yet the Series S version has lesser capabilities and lesser power to begin with. So
Right. And so to say that, so like the X, so and like the Xbox Series S is going to be like an all, it's kind of like an all digital because the Xbox Series S doesn't have a disc drive, only the Xbox Series X does.
yeah,
But yeah, so the Series S, I'm surprised that Microsoft would release a console that wouldn't have enough horsepower. It's like you're not keeping the specifications of your previous console and like adding more horsepower. How do you release an underpowered console when it's like your fourth?
well, they're supposed to make it more affordable for the cheaper, lower income people like ourselves, for example. So if we could afford a $500 Xbox Series X, we could afford the $300, $275 Series X or Series whatever S. You know.
Yeah, but the thing is, if developers are saying, we can't create the games that we want to create because your console's not powerful enough, that's gonna spell doom.
Yep. And it's
Because there
pointless.
have been other consoles in the past that didn't have third-party support. Nintendo Wii U, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the Atari Lynx was a handheld one from the 90s that didn't have the third-party support it needed, and those consoles died from lack of games. And if your console isn't powerful enough to run these new games, granted, games are a lot more complex to create now because they require teams instead of just one person.
Yeah.
But if your console can't handle these games, people aren't going to buy your console.
Right. Right.
So I mean, that's disappointing. The Series S seems to be underpowered, but I guess just more reason for me to get a Series X when I can afford it. But just like the Switch, there's gonna have to be at least 9 games on the Series X that I can't play on the normal Xbox One before I even consider getting the Series X or Series S.
Right.
And yeah, so the Series S, maybe, I mean, Sony's also having their own problems, so it's not like this is just shade on Microsoft. But um, I just don't know how you release a console underpowered when you've been releasing consoles since like 2001.
They've been doing that. Microsoft, in my perspective, Microsoft is trying. What they're trying to do is trying to appeal towards the less affordable crowd, the people who can't afford as many high quality systems. So, excuse me. So basically, it's kind of like playing a risk in a sense of what Microsoft did, and then they play their cards not so well. So now you gotta pay the
Okay,
consequences for it.
but the thing is also, the thing for Microsoft that kind of saves them is if you play their games on a Windows computer, they're still getting your money anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's an advantage that Nintendo and Sony doesn't have. Nintendo and Sony don't make computers unless you count their game consoles as computers. So, like, if you have a Windows laptop or a Windows desktop, you could still Microsoft can still make money off you anyway.
Yes.
So I guess maybe, but I don't know. Maybe they're spreading themselves too thin. Maybe this was just miscalculation.
Miscalculation in my perspective because I wouldn't buy the Series S. I'll buy the Series X because of the power of the Xbox. Because I know that even though if it costs $500 to buy it at first, I would know that the Xbox Series X would be more guaranteed to work well with my games I buy with the console. But most of the
Not
average
to men-
gamer, but the average console buyer, that don't really see that most of the time. So
Not to mention the Series X is the only one that has the hard drive So the Series X is going to be the only one that's really backwards compatible with your 360 games, with your Xbox One games,
Yeah.
and original Xbox. Basically, all your disc-based games will be, basic. If you get the Series X, it's supposed to be fully backwards compatible with all Xbox games from the past. Uh, you just need the game itself.
Uh huh.
But with the Series S not having a disk drive, the only backwards games that will be compatible with are the digital ones.
Hmm.
But anyway, so let's discuss this because you didn't like what you heard. Controller for next gen consoles are only lasting for 400 hours of use.
That is so small in comparison to what the average gamer goes through.
Hmm.
Like, goddamn, how can you be that crazy? Sony, especially. I'm not sure about Xbox themselves, but Sony played a hard, a lose type of situation because how is it that you make a controller, a PS5 controller, knowing that it only lasts for 400 hours? You know?
Right. I mean, how many hours would you say you play games per week?
I was anywhere between like 5 to about 30 hours a week.
Okay, that's a big number, but let's take the big number and say 30.
Pretty
That's a
much.
hundred. That's 30 a week, 30 hours a week. That's 120 hours a month. So the controller's going to last maybe 4 months.
At most.
Yeah, and then you're going to have to buy another controller at $70, $80.
They really think that we're that stupid as consumers or us gamers to buy a controller every 4 months. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just a PlayStation 5. When I was with my girlfriend in 2014, we went to Roosevelt Field Mall. That's when I got the golden PlayStation 3 controller.
Hmm.
That cost like $50 brand new.
Hmm.
And but all I had was one black PlayStation 3 controller, so I wanted a second controller. And the thing is, this PlayStation 3 controller, it still works. I just need to charge it when the battery gets low. But I played with this controller for years, and it still works. Something that's going to die after 4 months at most,
Yeah.
that's not going to be worth it.
Unless if you're like a very casual gamer, you play like 5, maybe 2 hours a week of gaming, and that's it. It can last you for a year. But other than that, the average gamer out there plays. The average gamer out there is 35 years old, but then to break it down to the 20-year-old gamers who are actually still at home with their parents, they'll play like maybe like 10 hours a day easily. It's
Not
kind
to
of crazy.
mention, think about before the pandemic. Think about like the people who are like our age. They have like a 9 to 5 job Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday say they're off from work, and they play games most of the time that they're home. On the weekends they're gonna rack up hours like crazy.
Oh yeah.
And now that people are mostly home because of the pandemic, that's still going on in most places. Uh, more people are going to reach that 400-hour limit than normal, and it's like this is not the time to have a controller with such a short lifespan.
Definitely.
All right. We talked about the Xbox Series S not having enough horsepower. PS5 external storage will work like it's supposed to starting this summer.
Why the summer? That's too far away. God damn.
Yeah, yeah. It's external storage. Like because the internal storage has a small hard drive,
Of
but
course.
basically so until this coming summer, that's all you got for storage of your games.
Oh, sure. There's no actual like launch titles other than Xena Bridge of Spirits and fucking
Well,
NAC
there's
remaster
still
thing
like
right now.
isn't there still games like Call of Duty
Cold War,
what was the
yeah.
newest Call of Duty?
Cold War.
Cold War, and then I think there was a couple others, but and then you could play your PlayStation 4 games. But yeah, if but the PS5 hard drive is so small that if you have a lot of games like you and me do, you're not going to be able to fit them all on the hard drive of the PS5.
Which is why even if people are able to get the PS5, scalpers are still in the making of selling those systems for twice at least twice the amount sold on the internet
Well,
originally.
we'll talk about the scalpers in a few minutes. That's the last topic I have for tonight. But the thing is, it just if you do get a PlayStation 5, say you were lucky to get one, well, VTech USA was claiming like maybe you could fit 3 normal sized games and maybe like an indie game, and that's it. The hard drive will be filled to capacity, and you have to play game roulette if you got more games than that.
Oh yeah.
And now something that should have been available from the start, because when Darkness the Curse joined us, we talked about this PS5 storage issue. And now they're going to be fixing their error almost a year after the console came out. Like I said, what was the point of hot-shotting these consoles if you were going to do a half-assed job anyway?
Mm-hmm.
So the PS5, if you need more storage that you were hoping to get externally, it's not going to be available for you until the summer. Which is why I'm sticking with Microsoft and Xbox if I get any next generation console. And the last story I have for tonight, PS5 scalpers are upset that they are being hated by the internet.
Oh, boo hoo.
Yeah, they actually put out a message, not being too clear who they are, but they're like, "Oh, we're trying to make sure everyone gets a console. We're trying to make," and it's like, no, you're taking a console that a lot of people want, and you're jacking up the price, so people that are already having a hard time affording it because of the pandemic that we're going through, but they were still able to afford it. Now they can't afford it because you're selling it for $1,000, $1,500, and now you want us to feel sorry for you?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe don't be scumbag sellers.
Yeah.
Anything you got? Anything you guys have to say about this PS5 scalpers upset that they're hated?
I have no sympathy for these scalpers, really. I mean, of course, scalpers were known since the dawn of man, right? If you buy something from one seller and then sell it again for an extra profit, that's you scalping the matter. But now
Right.
it's not in person anymore. It's not at a store. Everybody's on the internet where you can hack it very easily. Because let's face it, without the internet, the scalpers of today wouldn't be able to buy dozens upon dozens of PS5s or Xbox One
Right.
S or S and X. So it's
Right.
ridiculous.
And these people and now they're searching for sympathy because they think, oh, we're just trying to help people get the console they wanted. No, you're trying to screw people out of a console that they wanted
Mm-hmm.
because because you thought this was a way to make money and make a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get going. Before we finish, before we do go anywhere, do you have anything gaming news-wise that you wanted to bring up?
Well, I want to mention to the people out there whoever listens to this podcast in real time, especially, that I'm about to start doing the editing of my Call of Duty Cold War analysis of the game. I know that people already played it, at least most of the of our fellow gamers played it so far, and it said it was all right. It's like it's average, but to me, it's more than just average because how is it that all this stuff going on with what happened 15 years ago, now all of a sudden now people can put it into an actual game and people don't want to say nothing about it. So I kind of like rise me to the occasion to do something insane about it. It's sure maybe political at first, but it's more of just like my take on. Hopefully by next month I'll put my take on Cold War. So
Okay, and give the YouTube link and the BitChute link to your channels.
oh yeah, sure. In the meantime, you can watch my past videos. YouTube search Dr. Gaze 101. BitChute search is the same thing, Dr. Gaze 101. So.
Okay, and the next podcast will be 2 weeks from tonight on March 13th at